EA Sports.
It's in a loot box.
Hello and welcome back to You Like It, We Don't. I am one of your hosts, Maeve.
I'm Urbia.
And I'm Majin.
Welcome back to episode 4 of our podcast. We like to call this one the episode 4 EA Super Deluxe Edition.
And it can be available for you now if you get to the premium subscription package for a moderate price of only $60, minus shipping, minus tax.
Minus loot boxes.
We should be the first podcast to implement loot boxes. Like, you could get a random episode. You might get the same episode twice. Like, it could work.
Oh shit, you're right, huh? What about that? We make a bunch of podcast episodes, we put them inside a loot box generator.
Yep.
And then, the rarer the episode, the more jokes we make,
Yeah.
or the stupider we sound. There's one where we all just talk in Russian accents for the whole podcast.
Yeah, for like a good solid 2 hours.
Yes.
Couldn't speak for another 3 weeks. And as for sequence, well, you're just gonna have to hope the loot box drops it like that, aren't you? Wow, bringing up loot boxes with EA, that didn't take long at all, did it?
Yeah, I can't believe we started with that. But don't worry,
Okay,
we're going to get into way more depth though later
Yes.
on. Without a doubt.
Now let's actually get to the proper starting point.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, we're going to be starting with all of the different companies that EA has killed, or let me rather say the studios that EA has killed over the years.
13 in total.
Like EA is actually known. Yeah, 13 in total. Yeah, so.
Good grief.
Quite a
it
lot.
amazes me that you can kill one person as a human and then you go to jail forever. How many studios has EA killed and everyone is just like, oh, it's business practice?
Yeah, it's like whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, it's not like people working at these studios have livelihoods or families, and they need to eat. No,
eat,
no.
sleep.
I mean, come on, it doesn't matter.
And overtime. What's that?
Jeez. Like, who gives a shit about overtime? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll start us off with the first studio. Bullfrog Productions. 1987 to 2001. Wow, it's actually like a full tombstone description.
Imagine tombstones, if you will, for each one of these studios that EA has destroyed. So yeah, one of them is Bullfrog Productions. Their games aren't too well known these days, but they did make games like Syndicate and Dungeon Keeper, and they are credited with, really putting forward the whole God simulation genre.
Yeah.
Some of the employees
Still with us today.
want to make big planets, so at least something could happen.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So, I mean, eventually, at the end of the day, the people there at least ended up somewhere good.
Yeah, I think Little Big Planet came from the employees that they lost. Just goes to show you the kind of talent that EA doesn't really give a shit about.
EA just throws
They
it
could
away.
have the equivalent of Leonardo da Vinci in gaming there. And they'd section him off to the mailroom somewhere.
They probably would. And not only that, but they'd never give him an Oscar.
Yeah. Go back to your corner, Leonardo.
Then that brings us to the next one on the list.
This one is kind of close to my heart. Westwood Studios, 1985 to 2003. I think best known, obviously, for the Command and Conquer series, it's, at least from my perspective.
No, the Command and Conquer series was a great couple of games.
But when it came to Tiberium Twilight, that's you could tell EA's hands were smeared all over that one. You take one of the best base building games, you turn it into a mobile thing.
Yeah, EA was kind of like a vet that just put on a huge glove It said, "Pucker up to Westwood." So yeah, that's what they're mostly known for, is the Command and Conquer series.
That was their last game as well before they closed Renegade.
Yes.
It fails to meet expectations, and most likely it was because of that they closed them.
Well, I mean, that's a common trend with EA. You know, as soon as the game doesn't earn them billions of dollars, EA's like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah, Jim Sterling says it best. You know, it doesn't matter that a game makes money. It has to make all of the money.
Yes.
All of it.
Unfortunately, that's what EA... Yes, more money.
I love money.
Well, I mean, look, I can't blame EA for loving money, but I can blame them for treating their consumers
does go
like
around
shit.
executing people and closing down their places of employment just to get a little more of it.
Yes. Jeez, could you imagine if the government did that?
They do that.
Okay, well, I mean...
it's called social reform.
If EA was a gangster, people would be afraid
I
of...
stand corrected. Sorry, Erbia?
If EA was a gangster, people would be afraid of EA, because EA shut everybody down.
Yeah, they shoot
It's
like,
like,
they do drive-by style.
Yeah, EA just got rid of another studio. Like, goddamn, not another one. Like, each year.
Oh, shit, not another one.
Although, if Andrew Wilson did have darker skin and wears a black suit instead of that weird thing that he always wears, he could pass off as a mafioso.
He could look like Al Capone.
Yeah, if Al Capone had gorgeous hair.
Well, I guess that brings us on to the next one. Origin Systems.
Origin. Now there's some foreshadowing for you.
1983 to 2004.
2004 was not a good year.
No.
But they made one of the, most groundbreaking RPGs, Ultima.
Yes. That's what they're really known for, is Ultima.
Yeah.
One of their series that won, numerous awards, actually. Numerous awards. And then EA bought them, and they decided to make another game in the Ultima series as well. And just because, it didn't work out, EA just no.
So it can be the longest running mobile game in history, and they close it down.
But
yeah,
arguably,
is not EA's.
I would argue Ultima Online sucked dick. That was... I think EA is completely to blame in this situation, if I have to be honest.
Well, okay. I mean, maybe we're in that weird situation where the people responsible for Ultima already left a while back, and then it was kind of left as a shallow husk, and then EA was like, okay, make Ultima. But everybody who made Ultima's gone.
Make Ultima!
Make Ultima!
I don't know how. I'm not a game designer. I'm just a guy you found on the street and stuck in the chair.
Literally, 3 hours ago, I was eating a sandwich out of the garbage.
I'm getting paid for this, right? This is EA. What's a salary?
Yeah, it's such a shame though. EA, again, it's one of those situations. They have the people. They have the people, but
no, they leave.
Yeah, they leave. They slice it up, and it's just okay, whatever.
You can argue they always acquire the company or the development studio, but you can argue its soul, or at least its creative, essence leaves effectively immediately. A year or so can go by, but you know what? It takes a year to produce a game.
Yeah.
So nothing came out.
Oh, okay. I mean, back in the day, it took a year to produce a game. These days,
yeah, and so
I mean, some of these gaming cycles have gotten overboard. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 took 10 years to make. I mean, think about it like this: if you started making that game, if you were hired as an intern, okay, and you had a child that was born on the day you started, by the time you finished your first game, he'd be 10 years old.
It was originally supposed to be Final Fantasy 13, but then it got pushed to having other series before it.
Well, no, it was supposed to be Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
that's Square Enix's naming. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that even is supposed to mean. Like, can you fight a
Square
number?
Enix is not good in the name department. That
Yeah.
They have how many Final Fantasies are there now? 15 or something. Yeah, the word final doesn't belong in the title, does it? It should just be fantasy.
I mean, that's 10-2,
But okay.
10-3, 13-2, 13-3.
No. There was never a 10-3.
Oh, never 10-3.
10-3.
Yeah,
But there was a 13. There was a third version of Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Okay,
But anyway,
coming back to
yes.
EA.
EA, yes. So essentially, at the end of the day, what EA did with the creators of the Ultima series was they just took the Origin name and they created everyone's favorite digital distribution, Origin.
Yay! It's like Steam. If Steam was shit and
It's-
it took a year to update every time, I'm sure
It's
I can't
like
be the only
Steam's
one.
retarded cousin.
Yeah.
Basically.
I can't be the only one who has had this issue. I specifically bought Witcher 3 on Origin because it was cheapest there. I didn't know what I was letting myself in for. Do you have any idea what it's like coming home from work and you're like, God, I'm in the mood for some Witcher now. You switch on your PC, you sit down, you're like, oh fuck. How long is this update gonna take?
Wait, does Origin? You can't play the game on Origin until the update.
Yeah.
No, it auto prompts the update.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the update takes a while. Like, to put it in perspective, okay, Steam's updates, they can be pretty long, but they're nowhere near as long. And Steam was shit in the beginning. They at least got better. Origin, the update takes so long that by the time it's finished, you're 2 episodes into the series you were watching, and by that time you don't feel like it playing a game anymore.
Oh wow. Okay, I did not. I mean, I barely used.
No, I've never used
I
it.
used it once. I used it once. I didn't like it, and I was like, okay, no, I think I'm okay. I like Steam. I like Steam.
I think there was also a scandal once upon a time where Origin said that even if you have games on your account, if you don't use it often enough, they cancel your account.
I don't think that's legal.
Was that?
No, that's why they weren't allowed to do it. That's what I think it was a plan they wanted to implement, but then they realized,
yeah.
all right, the law.
Oh yeah, laws.
Fucking laws. I'm sure that won't come back to bite us in the ass. Fast forward to Battlefront 2. Rewind back to now.
So yeah, that's Origin system. Now we move on to number 4 on the list, or as I like to call it, next on EA's chopping block. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce this, but
Newfix?
New FX.
Newfix.
New FX, I think. Well, in any case, it's
Yes.
from 1990 to 2007. A whole 17 years. That's impressive for EA.
Yeah.
They actually kept it going for a while.
Yeah, that's their idea of longevity.
Yeah, they're best known for the NBA Street games, which I played 2 of them. I could say they're very fun games. Definitely different than your standard NBA games. You could do unbelievable stuff in this game.
What, like tricks?
Yeah, like you could do a slam dunk with like 4 people before the ball actually goes in. It's like ridiculous. Like everybody just like passes it midair.
Oh shit.
Like, like these games are very fun. Like I'm surprised there's no more like NBA Street or FIFA Street. Like they used to have those back in the day.
Well, I mean, it's because, they couldn't monetize them.
Yeah, it's again, this is the perfect example of a trend in EA. There is a market for these games, I'm sure that lots of people would like to play them. But EA operates under the model, you know, you either buy our games or nobody gets to play the game. So they own the license. They won't let a competitor have the license, and they won't make it. So now it's just sitting there, collecting dust, and nobody can play that game.
Yeah. Basically, it's inside EA's IP vault, essentially. You know, that's what they do. They take these companies, they get all the IPs that they can, they squeeze it dry.
It's because
and then they close them.
Is definitely scared of a competitive environment because they can't survive in it. I can't think of a game where there's an equivalent in the market where the other one doesn't do better. They don't do RPG games better than, say, Ubisoft and many of the other companies. At least not with what they've done to BioWare.
Yeah, definitely not to Japanese markets either. Like.
Oh yeah, they don't really focus too much on the Japanese market though.
Yeah.
Because there it's competition. They know they avoid competition like the plague because they cannot survive in anywhere. That's why FIFA does so well, because there is no FIFA equivalent.
Well, again, I mean there is PES, Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yes, but it's not FIFA. People recognize brands. People want FIFA. Meanwhile, I think FIFA is a tumor on the asshole of the planet. But okay.
It is kind of funny though that FIFA, you know, the actual company FIFA, went to EA to make FIFA, because I mean it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, of course.
Two of the world's shittiest companies together
forever. And if the rumors are true, that means two of the worst companies are now meeting each other again. Remember there's that little bit of a rumor. I have to say rumor.
No, but don't worry.
Going around that Microsoft might buy EA.
Yes, but it's just a rumor at this point. But if that happens, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
in the same way, seeing a comet hurling towards the planet would be interesting.
So yeah, guys, that brings us into number 5, which, in my opinion, is one of the worst decisions EA ever made.
Yeah,
to close down
I agree.
the studio.
But the most blatant reason you can see why they closed it down.
Yes. They closed down Pandemic Studios. The people... Oh, sorry. Tombstone. 1998 to 2009. They closed down Pandemic Studios, and they made, I think, arguably the best Star Wars game.
Well, I'd argue the real Star Wars Battlefront.
Well, yes. Actually, yes. Because, okay, yeah. There was Knights of the Old Republic. A lot of people love that one more than Battlefront.
I would say this one had better gameplay. Like Battlefront probably has the best Star Wars gameplay.
Oh yeah, no Battlefront. Yeah, they made the Battlefront series 1 and 2, the original ones, not Battlefront EA.
I like how they thought that was a good thing to put in there. Battlefront 2. EA.
Like
that
like,
makes it
we're
an original
proud
name.
of this. We're proud.
We're putting our stamp on it. What? It's outselling? Why?
Like, how does the game from the mid 2000s have more features in it than a game that came out recently? Like,
well, not only does it have more features, it has more maps, more planets.
The most awesome Galactic Conquest mode.
Yes, a Galactic Conquest mode. There's
it was split screen on the PlayStation 2 at least.
Yes.
And now on the PC, those servers are back on. And I'd argue for a game made in 2008, those graphics don't look bad on the PC. It shows its age on the PS2, but makes up for it with being awesome.
Yes. No, it still holds up very, very well. In fact, the original Xbox version of the game had 4-player split screen.
Yeah.
Which is amazing for the time. You know, I mean, fuck. You know, studios these days having just 2-player split screen.
It's like, oh no, that's not. We can't do that. It doesn't make sense.
Yes,
we would
that's
less
a rarity in itself. Yeah, it costs too much money.
No. As Jorgensen would say, that's not what players want. Translation: I couldn't be asked to
Yes.
fucking do it.
But the frame rate
so,
might drop though. Like if it's split screen. I think I heard that argument before.
Wait, sorry?
If the frame rate drops, I hear that's an argument for why a lot of these games don't have split
frame
screen.
rate drop.
I
like how they limit
that
consoles
is-
to 30 frames per second, or at least they used to, and then they try to argue frame rates.
Yeah.
No, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. Because when you do split screen, your console is rendering two parts of the screen at the same time, but it's changing the resolution. Okay? It's changing the resolution. That's why usually when you play split screen, it doesn't look as good when you play single player. Because the resolution drops by quite a bit. These companies can do it.
Yeah,
They just need to lower some of the particle effects or something, some of the graphical things, lower the resolution, and then you can keep a steady 30 frames per second
Look,
on two screens.
it's perfectly technically capable, but we know why they won't do it. Because if you and I play Battlefront split screen, it means one copy was sold. If we do it online on the servers that have, crashed, been turned off, or non-existent, again,
Yes.
then it's, but 2 copies were sold. Yes, but I can't connect. The server has been off since the 90s.
No, it's crazy. What gaming companies are doing. I mean, especially EA. When was the last time Need for Speed had split screen?
Racing games in general don't have split screen anymore. Like, other than Mario Kart, like, that's the only one. Like Nintendo.
Well, Mario Kart and some of these, indie developers that make racing games, because they understand that when you play a racing game, you want to play with the friend on the same couch. It's.
I don't know. I think EA still lives in the world where nerds were, these creatures that were shunned by society, didn't have friends, didn't do anything, and so on. So they're gonna assume that's still the state of the world. Meanwhile, being a nerd now is cool.
Yeah. Well, it's cooler than it's ever been.
Yeah, screw you guys. I was gaming before it was cool.
You're a hipster now?
Yes, so I guess, guys, overall, though, Pandemic is one of the most, in my opinion, it's also very funny. Because EA didn't have the license to Star Wars, exclusivity until Disney bought Star Wars, unfortunately.
And then the second they do, they can the studio
they
that made the
canned,
good games.
well, I mean, they canned the studio in 2009. They canned Pandemic Studios. It's a shame, though, because Pandemic Studios was reported to be working on Battlefront 3.
Yes, that one would have had seamless planet-to-ship transaction.
Seamless planet-to-ship transaction. Yeah,
Instead,
exactly.
the only game they gave us that was No Man's Sky, need I say more?
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Unfortunately. But that's the crazy part here, is that EA had it. They had the company that made it.
Yes, but remember, all they see is dollar signs.
Yes.
The concept of make a good product and sell that doesn't exist in their realm. Remember BioShock? There's one of those audio logs that you find where one of the business owners in the city is bitching to Andrew Ryan because a new competitor came into the market and was outselling him. And what does Andrew Ryan tell him to do? May I recommend you make a better product?
Yes.
I wanted to mention, did you hear that they were supposed to make the Dark Knight game, but since it couldn't come out before the movie, it was canceled? Like,
Well, I mean, I'll be surprised at this point.
do you think that would have been a good game? Like, if they had the Joker and everything? Like,
I think it could have been a good game. I mean,
At
there's
least there we had Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've had to say that. At least we had Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Fuck.
But we'll get to that.
Yes. All right, and now that brings us to number 6 on the list. Now, this is the start of the year of death from EA, because EA killed 4 studios in the same year.
Wow.
2013. One of them. Yeah, that's cold.
Had itchy trigger fingers that year, didn't they?
This one, the first one on their chopping block for that year was Playfish, 2007 to 2013. They were mostly responsible for some mobile games at the time.
This was before the explosion.
Yes.
I never played a single one of these games, to be honest.
No, neither did I. But it was open in 2007, so these are some of the older generation of mobile games.
It kind of looks like
we
Sims
have.
from what I see, like one of these games. The Sims Social. Oh no, is it? Okay. I didn't know they made that.
Some
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are you talking about? EA? Yeah, no, EA made all of the
No,
Sims games because they owned Mac.
Playfish made specifically.
Oh, Playfish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been much of a Sims guy.
I tried to wrap.
Although it was fun when you could, have one of them get into the pool and then take the ladder out.
Okay, look, I don't know. I never played a Sims game in my life, so that doesn't really affect me too much. However, I do hear a lot of complaining from Sims fans about all the expansion, in inverted commas, expansions.
Oh, Sims 3.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
when
my
they
gosh.
screwed the pooch when it came to that expansions. I think the list just stretches on. It's breathtaking. They had Sims pets. Fuck's sake, just go and buy a dog. Or hell, what were those little keychain things where it was an animal in pixelated form? I think it was a Japanese. Tamagotchi. Just get one of them.
Alright, and then that brings us to the next one. Black Box Games. 1998 to 2013.
Wow, 14. Oh, what's it now? 13 was not a good year.
Yeah, that's next on 2013's
Yeah.
chopping block.
They made some of the best Need for Speed games. Hot Pursuit 2.
Yeah, no, they were good at what they did.
Yeah.
Of course they were. Of course they were, because otherwise EA wouldn't have closed them.
Now, of course they were good. Otherwise, EA wouldn't have bought them.
Oh yeah.
Then closed them.
closed them, yeah.
It's like, oh my god, a talented gaming company. Shoot him in the head.
I know, and they also made
Execute
Skate.
them.
Like Skate was better than Tony Hawk in my opinion, but like after Skate 3, nothing came out anymore because they canceled them. Like there's no good skate game anymore these days. Like what happened to that?
I don't know.
We know what happened to them. EA turned their gun gangster style
Yes.
and shot 3 times. They're basically following the same policy as the Emperor Palpatine did in Episode 1. Wipe them out. All of them.
But what the strange part is that EA closed them because of the underperformance of Mirror's Edge and Need for Speed Undercover. And I find that crazy because Undercover was one of the best Need for Speed games that was ever created.
It was one of the last good
Remember-
ones. Like after Undercover, that's when
yeah.
it started fucking up, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it was such a good game.
But remember, good game is not their yardstick. Good selling game
Yeah.
is their yardstick.
That's the problem. That's the problem. They are artistically bankrupt as a company. They
I'd
don't.
also say they're artistically indifferent. They're fully aware that they are talentless. They just, they sort of bask in it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yes, I don't understand jack shit of what I'm doing, but look at all my characters. As they lie in it, sort of wiping it all over himself. Oh, I'm painting a mental picture here I don't need.
Well, yeah, it feels like the investors of EA, the shareholders of EA, are riding on the backs of legitimately great people. You know, these people that actually make these games, they're riding on their backs, and then as soon as they make as a little mistake, you know, they trip up just a little bit, EA just kills them.
But EA investors are Wall Street people. Now, can you name me a more morally bankrupt group of people than that?
It's not
It's
possible.
tough to find that.
Yes.
All right, so next death in 2013, DreamWorks Interactive. 2013 was just not good at all. 1995 to 2013.
Yeah. So yet another one.
2013. We need to come up with a name for that, like you know.
Yeah, the year of death.
DEFCON 5 or something.
Best known for the Medal of Honor games, which we know were the original FPS before Call of Duty took over.
Yes. Well, Medal of Honor, I will say, I played a couple of the original ones back in the day, and I really enjoyed a lot of the Medal of Honor games. But that was before they started, you know, messing it up. Yeah.
Yes, but this is the cleanest example I can think of. Medal of Honor, direct competitor to Call of Duty, and they failed. They cannot compete with anyone. That's why they buy them out. And when they can't buy them out, they just give up.
You know what the problem is? I think Medal of Honor was around before Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And when EA started seeing that Call of Duty was making all this money, EA started messing around with Medal of Honor to make it into a Call of Duty clone. And
yes,
because
and
of that,
gamers logically went, oh, since Medal of Honor is just Call of Duty now, I might as well just get a Call of Duty game.
yes.
It's like if Mars bars make themselves look and taste exactly like a bar one. Then just go buy a bar one.
Yeah, are you gonna go buy a block of matured cheddar cheese, or are you gonna go buy a block of imitation cheese?
No.
No, you're not.
You could argue, but they taste exactly the same. Yeah, that's why I'm going original.
So no, it's So in EA's meddling with Medal of Honor, that's essentially what killed it.
Yeah.
And then EA does that thing all the time, obviously, where because they meddled in something and because of their meddling it didn't do well, that gives them reason now. Close the studio, even though it was their fault in the first place.
So to be honest,
that it didn't sell.
Warfighter was not that good of a game. It was pretty bad. And it was kind of controversial. Like, you played as a Taliban, like, in the game for a certain mission. So that, I don't think that...
Okay, that's not controversial. That's just a unique take. I love it when a game at least takes a chance.
I don't know. This is... Like, Call of Duty never did this. I think this was one of the first to do it in a story fashion.
Yeah, well, okay. That's controversial. You play as a terrorist in a video game. Yeah, big deal. If someone actually blows up a building, yeah, okay, fine. Okay, that's a little controversial, especially to the guy crushed underneath the rubble.
But it doesn't make a good headline either. Like,
Look, I'm pretty sure the guy who's under the rubble is not thinking, damn
you,
EA.
Warfighter.
Damn you, EA! Okay, so I guess that brings us to another 2013 killing.
Ouch.
Yeah. Phenomic Game Development, 1997 to 2013.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't know their games that well.
I played two of them.
What are they most famous for?
Spellforce. Those are some of my favorite RPG games, and recently a third one came out, but it was made by someone else, like some other developer, and now, like, I heard a lot of shitty reviews about it, so that really sucked.
No.
It was like an RPG mixed with, like, strategy. Sometimes the missions were strategy-based, but most of the time it was like a regular RPG.
Sounds kind of like Final Fantasy.
Oh.
Well, it's like some missions were like StarCraft, while other missions were like, regular RPG styled missions. Like sometimes you had to craft buildings, towers, minions, all that, and attack the enemy.
The fact that it's like StarCraft just shows me why they lost. We know they can't do competition.
It sounds interesting, but I'm guessing EA meddled in it and messed it up. Most likely.
I don't even know who made the third one, but I heard it's ass.
So yeah,
that's a trend with them.
I didn't play any of these games from
it doesn't mean that we don't sympathize.
Oh no, obviously
them.
these.
I'm going to bet, even if they weren't to my taste, objectively they were better games before EA got their tentacles into it.
No, these are people with jobs and families. They deserve to have these jobs, and it's just a death sentence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as your company gets bought by EA, you need to start looking for a new job.
Yeah, that company is dead.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want to support, say, BioWare, and I loved BioWare. I still do love BioWare, but it's one of those things. BioWare's dead.
Yeah.
It's already dead. It died when EA bought them.
Yeah. Ever since EA bought BioWare, I think we can all agree when it started with Mass Effect 3.
Yes, the infamous Mass Effect ending. I won't give away the story, but the people who finished it, Jesus, am I right, guys?
Though I still have hope for the new Dragon Age game that'll eventually come out. Like, I feel like those games still are pretty good.
Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition was pretty good. You can see that Dragon Age 2 was kind of a mixed bag. But I don't know. In my opinion, Dragon Age Origins is still the best one.
Yeah.
It's still the best one. It's strange though, because it by far has the least open world out of the three, but still manages to have the most interesting story and characters, and I don't know. Overall, it's awesome.
I've never seen anything like it.
Still really
like.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty.
Exactly. Well, I guess we go on to the next one. Urbia, do you want to introduce this one?
Victory Games, right? So, from 2010 to 2013, only 3 years, they mostly made, free-to-play games, which I never played these games. What about you guys?
Yes. Well, no, we didn't. I never played any of these games.
No,
However, they did try to continue the Command and Conquer,
which was cancelled eventually.
Which was cancelled. So, I mean, however, this is one of the few times where this company was made by EA,
and
was formed by EA, and then cancelled. So, not even EA.
So that's
to
like
keep its own company.
So that's like you spending a fortune and a lot of time building your own car. You get all the parts, all the intricate details, you put it together, and the second it's done, you petrol bomb it.
Yes.
Because it's not going fast enough. You didn't drive it once, you never gave it a chance to do anything. 3 years. Anyone business savvy will tell you the mark of a good company is to break 10 years. 3 years is nothing. It's infancy.
No, it's nothing. But that's the thing here. I don't think any of these companies that we've mentioned have lived for over 20 years. I don't think any of them have been around for longer than that.
I'm older than some of these companies are.
The one that got to 18. We'll eventually talk about that one.
It's ironic that it got to 18 then EA fucked it.
Yes. So EA was waiting.
It's like, pucker up, buttercup. Okay, then number 11. And finally, we're moving past the year of death from EA. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I was getting worried. I was trying to wonder, are all the games we're just seeing now just leftovers from 2013?
It's Mythic Entertainment, and it's 1995 to 2014.
I'm afraid I don't know Mythic that well either.
Yeah, same.
But
I mean, they were mostly. You can see they're mostly responsible for those like RPGs and MMO type situations.
but you see, their RPGs, Japan is just gonna kick their ass
No, of course, yeah.
every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
I mean, in later years, though, Western RPGs have been getting pretty good. However, Japan's picked up the pace.
Yeah.
Though. Japan's been doing very
the
well.
RPGs
lately.
are getting better, assuming EA doesn't buy it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Just
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if EA bought a JRPG studio so that they could get into the Japanese market, and then they started fucking up like a JRPG that's been around for like 30 years or something?
No, I don't. The Japanese wouldn't take that.
They
well.
wouldn't. No.
If people think we value our games, I mean, we're making podcasts about it. I think the Japanese take it a little bit more seriously there. In fact, the whole Asian market does. There are court cases against people who hack accounts there. Here, if your World of Warcraft account gets hacked, you lose all your shit and everybody just says get over it. On the Asian continents, there are court cases because these things are so valuable, they have a monetary value. And you can sue people to get it back.
They know that's what it should be like. That's what it should be like. Your consumers need to come first. That's how a business. That's why Valve is so big. Like Valve is making money like no one's business, and they haven't shat all over their consumers. Yes, in recent memory, they've been in a couple of bad news headlines regarding
those weren't
CS:GO.
Anti-consumer. That was anti-quality.
Half-Life 3 either. Like, that's never coming out. Like.
Oh no, but I mean that's because Valve can't count to 3. Like if Valve ever has in their bank account $3 billion, all they will see is just zero.
Oh my god, the money's gone.
It's like, oh my god, we're bankrupt.
That goes to 3,000,000,001.
Oh, thank God we have $1.
I think that was like,
until they reach 4 billion, they'll just have like just minus the 3. Unfortunately, that's how Valve is. It really sucks though. I think I can vouch for the internet when I say Half-Life 3 needs to come out.
Oh, Half-Life 3
Seriously.
Half-Life 3 was cancelled years ago.
well, never officially. They still haven't officially canceled it. But
Not officially, but
come out. Like.
the thing is, they can't really release Half-Life 3 now, can they?
No, the
The expectations are just too high. It's impossible for them to meet the expectations at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the shooter genre has run out of ideas for the most part. Like, it's rare to see something innovative these days.
That is true. That is true. But okay, let's get back to EA though.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's Mythic Entertainment. Unfortunately, we can't talk too much about it because we never really played any other games. But if you enjoyed their games, please comment down below. Tell us what you thought of their games, how good they were. I'm pretty sure that they were great developers at one point until EA'd it up.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Until EA came up from behind and was like,
Hello there, my pretty. They took him behind the shed.
No dinner,
And-
nothing.
oh.
Like,
Yeah, nothing.
not even a little spit and some lube.
Okay, so we get to number 12 on the list. Maxis Software. For 1987 to 2015. I don't think I need to say too much about Maxis because they are the original creators of the Sims game.
remember Sims? I don't. I never really
Yes.
played it.
I never really played Sims, but it was a cultural phenomenon at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is without a doubt.
I fully admit Sims is just not my taste in game. That's the only reason why I didn't play it.
But we all remember
no.
SimCity, the controversy behind that, and always have.
Oh yeah, the latest SimCity. Oh
Yeah, they limited
fuck,
the size of your city, I think, and the DRM issue.
They limited the size of your city and the DRM issue. But not only that, do you guys remember that the servers could not handle the amount of people because to play single player you needed to have an always online connection.
Yep.
And EA came up with this bullshit.
Yeah, anti-piracy was
Well, it was anti-piracy, but also that they said, no, it is impossible for us to now make it offline. You know, this, that. They actually said that in a statement, and I think it took about 2 weeks or somewhere between 2 weeks and a month, and hackers actually managed
to turn it
offline. So they managed to turn it offline before EA. That means that they fucked it up. That EA.
But we saw this with Xbox too. They also went, oh, it's too late now. We can't take out the DRM. And everybody went, fine, we won't buy it. Okay. We'll take out the DRM. Please.
Did you ever hear why they said they needed to do it?
Why?
Because, it turned out later to be a lie. But they said, due to like the complex, world in SimCity, every person that you see on the map has their own home, and like their life.
Oh, my God! What?
And it turned out
man.
to be not true. The people would go back home to random houses, like.
Everybody has a home. It's just not a stationary place on the map.
I can't believe that.
Imagine that in real life. Every night you just end up in a house, not necessarily yours.
Yes.
Every day you're like, sweet, I got PS for the TV here. Meanwhile, the other place, shit, it's just a box.
Wow. Okay, I actually never knew that. Okay, so EA really fucked.
It's no wonder they got shut down 2 years later.
Yeah. No, it really is no wonder at that point.
It baffles me that EA still tries to get away with these lies, especially with some lies that they tell to PC gamers, where they say, oh, the game is performance-based to make matchmaking. What's the first thing that happens? The more savvy PC gamer goes into the game files, looks through the script, and goes, well, that's clearly just bullshit.
Well, yes, exactly.
I mean, they just somehow assume that we're not going to find out.
I don't understand how EA, in this day and age, think they can pull one off on us. It really is mind-boggling. I don't understand.
Yes, even if you're not the most tech-savvy person in the world, all you need is an internet connection and the right YouTube channel. And you will be able to find out everything about everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know.
That's how they found out Ubisoft and the... What was it? Watch Dogs issue. One of the more PC talented people went into the game file and went, oh, there's the graphics that they turned off, and turned it back on again.
Yes, exactly. But okay, Ubisoft got a lot of flack for that. And also, less copies sold of Watch Dogs 2. So, it just goes to show, don't lie to your consumers.
Or if you're gonna lie...
You fucking assholes!
Or if you're going to lie, at least make it a believable lie. Don't tell me, oh my god, doesn't the red sky just piss you off today? All I have to do is look up and go, you're trying to bullshit me, right?
But,
I'm gonna move on to the final studio now.
Yes. And this one is, ironically, the longest lasting as well.
It's because
it
made
almost,
Epic games.
almost cracked 20.
Oh.
Almost cracked 20 years. So close.
So it never was allowed to drink in the US.
Yes. Yeah. No, none of these studios would ever make it to legal drinking age.
They were allowed to fuck, but they couldn't have a drink.
Damn shame.
Damn. And I think we all know Visceral Games,
Yeah.
1998 to 2017.
Most known for
That's truly a sad.
Dead Space. Like,
Yes. Oh.
And
my
Lord of the
God.
Rings Return
yeah,
of the
which was
King.
pretty good
Yeah.
for a movie tie-in game. Like, one of the few good ones.
Yes.
I played.
Yes. No. But overall, though, I think the biggest travesty here is just what EA did to Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space 3.
Dead Space. Oh fuck. Like,
Yeah.
But I guess that brings up a good point. I mean, have you guys noticed with EA when they buy these studios and there's 1, 2, and in those first 2 they leave the studio to do it at once, and in the third one they're like, okay, no. Now it's time to fuck shit up.
Well, it's the first one. It's like, oh, who gives a shit? The second one, oh, that was a good game. All right, make us a massively profitable game. Then they make number 2. And then number 3 comes along like, no, there's still money in the world. It clearly failed.
Yes, but that's what they did with Dead Space 3. That was one of the first implementations that EA did with microtransactions in a non-sports game.
Yeah, and this one was performance based, where it's not just a cosmetic loot box. One of the YouTubers that we got information from, he pioneered the term Wilson style loot box.
Yes,
That's-
the name of the channel is called Skill Up. We'll put it down in the description. For
Yeah,
you
I
guys.
highly recommend go watching that video. He describes a Wilson loot box as tied into progression, based on gambling, and
Pay to win.
pay to win. Now, it wasn't as bad in Dead Space 3 yet, although there were some pretty nice guns locked behind the microtransaction. It wasn't loot boxes.
The thing
yet.
is, though, this was, I guess, this was the prior evolution to the loot box. You know, this was the you pay for something and you get that thing.
Well, it's pay to win, but at least you know what you get.
Yes, it's pay to win,
Then they
but
went-
you get what you pay for, and that's it. There's no caveat here. You know, it's not like, oh, you can pay here and you have a possibility of getting something that you might need.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
so-
you can get a holster for your gun. You're like, oh, great, I have like 9 of these.
Yes, but it's obvious though what EA did with Dead Space 3 though. You can see it from a mile away. They introduced the microtransactions, obviously, and they turned Dead Space into a
Action game.
action
Co-op game.
co-op.
They took a
game.
perfectly good horror game and turned it into an action co-op game.
Yes.
Hmm.
That's what essentially they did. They turned it into an action gun shooting game. And I don't understand what the point of this was. Did they and then they were surprised that Dead Space 3 didn't meet the expectations. No shit, it didn't meet the fucking expectations.
Horror is a niche market.
Yes.
If there's a good horror game, the fans are not gonna like it being turned into an action game. They wanted a horror game.
Didn't they see
Exactly.
what happened to Resident Evil with Resident Evil 5 and 6? Like, people really didn't like that.
You know what the funny part though is that the main issue here is when you look at the numbers. With Resident Evil 5 and 6, they both sold better than Resident Evil 7.
Really?
And yet 7
Yes.
is a better game.
And yet 7 is a better game by far and is an actual
horror.
Yeah.
horror game. So, what are you supposed to think as a development studio at that point?
Well, you're supposed to do what the creators of Dark Souls did, which is know your audience and make a game for
Yeah.
them. That's how the creators of Dark Souls can have only 3 million copies sold and go, the game was a success because they knew that was their market. EA wants to make a game for everybody and then narrows the market to the whales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a game for everybody for a limited market.
Exactly.
But after Dead Space 3, they made Battlefield Hardline, which was, like, did you guys play that? Like,
Oh
Uh,
no.
No.
I did not watch I did
The
not play
reviews turned me
Battlefield
off of that
Hardline, but all I needed to know about the game was said very well by Angry Joe.
Yeah.
As soon as I watched Angry Joe's review, I knew to stay well away from Hardline.
I played the beta. I was like, wow, this isn't good. Like, that was pretty bad.
But I mean that's the thing. Why do you buy a studio that makes such epic horror games if you're not going to use them for horror games?
Because they don't see
Yeah,
games.
exactly.
They see numbers.
They see numbers,
They
yes.
see they see Dead Space and they go profit. Oh, okay. And then they see Dead Space and they go bigger profit. Oh, and they go Dead Space 3. It's a what? No. Microtransactions, more guns, more explosions. What do you mean it's not selling? It's got guns and explosions. That's what gamers want, right?
Yeah, that's what Michael Bay wants.
Oh look, if Michael Bay had his way, literally every form of entertainment would just be explosions. Okay, like listen to music, explosion sounds. Watch a movie, it's just one long explosion. You know, open a book, the book explodes in your hands.
Imagine one of those typing RPG games. Every time you hit the key, it's a small explosion.
Yes. No, it's a good thing Michael Bay is not handling any of the like any of the main entertainment sectors.
Imagine if you had a podcast. Like, how would that be? It'd just be explosions in the background.
Or you'd hear explosions.
You know what? You know what I think he would do. He would just play. You know the.
1812 overture.
The
with a
1812
bunch of
overture.
explosions
Yes.
going
Yeah.
off.
Da 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 da.
Boom,
boom boom. Just constantly. That's all the podcast would be. Is just with explosions in the background.
For 5 hours straight.
Yes, exactly.
Or imagine a reality TV show starring Michael Bay. Like, what would that look like?
Can we have real explosions in the Kardashians in it?
The Kardashians, directed by Michael Bay.
Directed by Michael Bay.
See Kim Kardashian's ass finally blow up. Yay!
Well, okay, so yeah, that brings us to the end of all the list of companies that EA has destroyed. However, I would like to bring up one point though before we move on to the next point. EA recently acquired Respawn Entertainment.
Titanfall.
Yeah, the guys responsible for Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2. I never played Titanfall 1 because
Because it
I
sucked.
It was on the
It
Xbox.
sucked.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, it was it was only on Xbox and PC, but that wasn't really the main issue why I didn't play it. I didn't play it because it didn't really have a proper single player campaign. I like my single player campaigns.
Preaching to the
I
choir.
like my single player campaigns.
I don't play multiplayer. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an antisocial person.
no, you're
These
not
days,
antisocial.
looking so
I've talked to
vanilla.
these people on multiplayer, like, oh god. Like,
It's good for a laugh, at least.
So when it comes to Titanfall, I did play Titanfall 2. Highly recommend the
Yeah,
game.
that one was
Titanfall
much better.
2 was a fantastic game. The multiplayer was great in Titanfall 2, and the single player was one of the best FPS single players I've seen in a long time. It's really hard to get a story that is that good from an FPS single player these days.
very few people can
Why
pull
is
it
it that
off.
hard? Yeah, very few people can pull it off, but why? Why is it so hard? Like third-person shooter games, like Uncharted and Tomb Raider, and all these games, they pull off these stories flawlessly. Why? Like, I don't understand. I really don't.
Well,
get it.
usually FPSs have, like, silent protagonists, so I don't know. Like, maybe that's why it's limited.
Yes, but Titanfall 2 didn't have a silent
Sure.
protagonist.
When it comes to games with silent protagonists, am I the only one who imagines it's just a really awkward guy? It's not that he silently conveys emotions. He's just standing there. Oh my god. A girl. What do I do? What do I do? Point your gun at her.
I like to think that It's like with the South Park silent protagonist,
The
where
new kid, yeah.
you're just there, and like no matter what happens, it's just
The funniest joke.
nothing. Like the face doesn't change. It's just
The funniest joke they made about that is like he gets this bag over his head and he's taken to the girls, which is a faction.
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's Stick of Truth.
It's like, this is the new kid. He doesn't talk. And there's a moment of silence and one goes, "That's hot."
yeah. Yeah, I remember that scene. That was amazing. Yeah, the South Park games before they started going downhill.
Yeah, before they fractured their butthole.
Oh
Yes.
my god. Like that game.
Before Ubisoft fractured their butthole. But okay, so with Respawn. Okay, so yeah, EA has Respawn now. And the main issue here is EA published Titanfall 2. Now, Titanfall 1 didn't do too well because it was put on relatively just basically two systems.
Yeah.
The Xbox One and the PC. Now, I'm not saying that these markets are low in buying or spending in any way. However, you're cutting out a good like at least a third of your audience base. And that's a massive profit right there. And it didn't sell that well, and then EA published Titanfall 2.
A much better game.
And then EA, a much better game. Now, the thing is here, this is before EA owned Respawn, before they bought Respawn. EA, because of the publisher, they said when the game was going to be released. They released Titanfall 2 in between Battlefield 1
And Call of Duty.
and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Right smack dab in the middle of this. And then they were surprised that the game didn't do well. But I think that they did this on purpose.
No, they did.
I think they did this on purpose. There's no way that they did not know that this would not
You're sticking an
lead.
unproven IP
Yes.
between two of the most popular IPs.
And
And
then-
let's face it, not every person is a whale. We can't just spend money infinitely, although I didn't get Titanfall 2, Modern Warfare, or Battlefield 1, so what does that make me? Sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sad for Titanfall 2 at least.
The Titanfall
But
3, we have
basic-
to see. Like, I'm assuming.
Yeah, who knows? Now, EA, no, but look, remember, EA is going to do the same thing that they do all the time. Remember, 1, 2 are good,
Uh,
and the
Three's gonna
third game is always
Yep.
good. Because EA messes it up. And Respawn's going to be next on the chopping block. I guarantee you that Respawn
Well, it's a race
will
between
be...
BioWare and Respawn.
The thing
Although-
is-
although Anthem has to come out before
Look,
BioWare
it all
will be killed.
hinges on Anthem, really, at the end of the day. If Anthem does well, EA will keep BioWare alive.
But that's just the question. How can Anthem do well? Anthem is just direct competition to Destiny. And even Destiny players are Destinied out.
yeah.
No, they are. But, okay, getting back to Respawn, though, just to finish their ultimate story, how they got bent behind the shed.
Yeah.
Basically, EA put them in a situation where their game did not sell well. Respawn didn't make enough money, and then EA bought Respawn for like a very small amount for the amount of talent that they have. I believe it was something along the lines of $50 million worth of EA shares or something along those lines, which is almost nothing. No, if you take into comparison that Microsoft bought Mojang, the creators of Minecraft, for $2.5 billion. You know?
The Minecraft is one of
So-
those games that like sold a lot of units. Like,
No, it is, but it's just
Which
it's
begs
just
the
a
question,
shame.
where is all this money being financed from? I refuse to believe EA uses its own capital to buy these companies. They must get a loan or some kind of financing in order to do it, which means they must be running a pretty impressive debt at this point.
they get a lot of
No,
money
but
from
it's
their stocks.
EA.
Like, their stocks have been increasing for the past 5 years steadily. And
Yes, except for the whole Battlefront 2
It
debacle.
dipped a
went down
little,
like-
but
Yeah.
it's back up again now. It's almost like it never happened.
Well, that's just fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, okay, we'll get to
people have
Battlefront.
forgotten about
Yes.
that.
Don't worry. People are still keeping on the
We're
conversation.
reminding them.
Yeah,
That's why we're here.
no, people are still keeping on the conversation. EA will not get away with this bullshit.
No, but that's why I'm actually focusing on EA. Because I know that every single other AAA company is guilty of the same thing that EA does. Not to the same degree, but all of them are guilty. But it was pointed out to me once that if you try to argue with someone, if you try to argue them out of a position, let's use a term everyone can understand. Let's say it's PC v Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
If I try to argue someone out of buying an Xbox or out of buying a PlayStation, it's never going to work. If you're arguing with someone, they've decided their position, they're not going to budge. But the people listening might change their plan. And that's what I am hoping is going to happen here. I hope if everybody just dumps on EA, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, 2K, all these guys are going to be like, okay, shit. That just hit the fan, guys. All that shit, just shove it in a corner somewhere. No, we can't do. That's they're just buried in shit.
Look, I'm hoping that it ends up in that situation.
They gotta stop with these microtransactions, though. I think that's the main issue these days. Like,
No, but you know what? You know what the problem is, though, is that it's too ingrained in the very fabric of what EA
like
is.
EA made 3
EA.
games this year. All of them were shitty. Like, all of them had microtransactions in them. Like, what the fuck?
EA was one of the first companies to actually implement microtransactions into their games.
Actually, they put loot boxes in first.
Oh yeah,
FIFA
actually
09.
yes, yeah. They
They put
first
in a
put
loot
boxes.
box, but
The
it
Wilson
was,
loot
yeah,
box.
it was no. That was before the Wilson loot box.
No, no,
that
no,
was
no.
the introduction of. Oh wait, before
No,
that.
the Wilson loot box came by this in 2007. UEFA. That was when FIFA still owned the rights to UEFA for a soccer game. Okay, they implemented a card system. I know, right? Sounds familiar,
Doesn't it?
doesn't it?
The reason nobody gave a shit.
Yes. So
The reason
they-
nobody gave a shit back then is because it had to be earned with in-game currency.
It had to be earned with in-game currency, so it didn't really matter. That's fine. At least then you just use it. It's entertaining,
pay to win.
etc. But then,
It's not
Sorry?
pay to win. Like,
yes, it's not pay to win. Yes, because you're earning these things as
Yeah.
it goes. In 2009, this was in I think FIFA 09.
Yeah,
Okay,
this was
where
when
they
Wilson
first
was one of the
implemented it.
directors.
He was
I
the
think.
executive producer.
Executive producer, sorry.
Andrew Wilson, the current CEO of EA.
And massive dickhead.
Yes. Saw the potential in the system. And that is when he implemented for the first time the Wilson loot box. The loot box that would eventually come to this day and age in the form that it's in. EA were getting so much money from these Wilson loot boxes that they decided to put it into their other games. Because,
Why not?
Why not at this point?
Well, yes, I think the latest one is they made $800 million dollars from Wilson-style loot boxes in the
In
latest
FIFA, yes.
FIFA. The year before that, I think it was $620 million. It escalated pretty quickly. It went 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 600 million, 800 million.
Yes,
So
from the year from 2012 to 2013, it almost doubled in the amount of money that they were
but
getting
their
from
game
these loot
sales
boxes.
went down.
Yes, and that's the main problem, I guess, with EA in general. They are overvalued and
they
stuff.
add
overvalued.
card games to games that are not card games. Like,
Exactly.
Yes.
They're
And-
trying to turn Need for Speed into
it's like
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! GM. Remember that with the motorcycles? Like, no, I don't want. Like, I want a racing game, not a racing game where I play cards. Like, we saw how
Yes.
stupid that was
Like-
with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like,
Yes, exactly. How stupid. That's what they did with the new Need for Speed. That makes no sense. Okay, so okay, yeah, you like racing games. Okay, you're a racing fan gamer. You buy the new Need for Speed, and you're like, oh, fantastic! I'm gonna tweak my engine and the
Yep.
stats. You know, like see if I can streamline, maybe put on some new tires depending on the tread. You know, for different off road and on road situations. And then you get these cards.
Yeah, and it's not even you progress through the story. You get cards.
Yes, it's like add extra speed +3 card. like, I mean,
Imagine the kids that grow up with this. They're gonna get a card, stick it into their car, and go, "Why is it not going faster?" But your logic applies to soccer fans, FIFA fans. Okay, I'm not a FIFA fan myself, but I can at least see this scenario going. Imagine you buy the brand new FIFA game. You're excited. You want to get it. I know of one guy that's been out of gaming for quite a while and only now bought a new console and really was looking forward to a FIFA game. Now imagine you get it home, you install it, you're playing online with people, and you're like, oh, I keep losing because they sprint more. Wow, it really is like real football.
yes, the team that can hire the best talent is always the one.
Yeah,
that
the
is
richest,
the best.
the richest club always wins because they just get all the best stuff.
And now in this UFC game,
is-
they added microtransactions. How does that make sense? It's a fighting game. Do you really need microtransactions for a stronger, faster fighter? Like, it's ridiculous.
No, but you see that they added these microtransactions were in there even after the whole Battlefront 2 debacle.
Yeah.
I just
Now,
and
Jorgensen
EA
already said they're not budging from their model.
No, the thing is, EA's in their own little bubble. They are basing their entire business practice on whales. That is literally all that they are doing.
Yes, but it's not sustainable. Like I said before, you can't take a game that's built for a specific market, redesign it so that it appeals to everybody, and then redesign it that it appeals to whales.
No, I know it's not possible. You can't do that, but
we
EA
know. But I know what Wilson is doing. He's doing with EA what all those bank CEOs did in 2008. He's making short-term profits as much as he can, which is effectively just forcing up the share.
I mean, it works out for them.
The Wall Street.
They want to sell these games
Yeah,
new, not used. Like,
Yeah. But these Wall Street investors don't realize this. I mean, they're Wall Street investors. They're fucking idiots. But fucking rich idiots, which is even worse. But he's forcing up the share price with short-term profits. Meanwhile, he's alienating the consumer. He's infuriating the internet. He's not had a good game in the past year. But he's doing everything he can with shady business practices to get the profit up. Because he gets a performance-based bonus and he has share options. When this bubble bursts, just before it, he's going to dump his stock and walk. When EA finally has to answer for what they've done, Wilson will not be there. He would have made his fortune and he will leave. When you're rich and retired, people can hate you as much as they want. You're out of the game. You're done. You're happy. You've made it.
I don't know if it'll ever happen. FIFA and NBA and they do too well. Like, they sell.
The problem here is that EA holds a monopoly on a lot of sports.
Yeah,
IPs.
people love games.
And people love sports games. Like that's the main issue. And the main problem here is that EA keeps monetizing these sports games. They keep adding these things to these games that do not need to be there. And it's all because of Wilson's idea back in 2009, just to keep adding these cards type things. And we don't need cards
in sports games. What the?
We don't need cards in sports games. We don't need fucking cards in our racing games, and we don't need cards in our Star Wars games.
Like what?
It's
but
just
in the Star Wars, it didn't work. But
No,
okay,
it
there
did.
I can
But-
tell why. Because you had a comparison. FIFA has, as long as time has existed, belonged to EA. So FIFA, they could do whatever they want because you can't compare it to another FIFA game. Battlefront 2 EA was immediately compared to Pandemic's Battlefront 2.
The difference
People
is
immediately spot it was shit.
No, look, the difference is on a whole new level. I mean, okay, but Urbia, like, let me ask you a question as a man who studied finance.
Yeah.
Okay, how smart is it for a company to base their to base their entire strategy of making a product off of 10% of their consumers? Because there are technically 4 variations of how these big companies refer to consumers.
The marketing guys, they
Yes.
refer to.
There's whales, which is about 10% of the population. There's dolphins, which is 30 to 40%. There's minnows, which is about 50%.
And then you get
And
us.
then you get, well, let's
get
be
us.
honest, you get us. The
The
three of us,
freeloaders.
we're the freeloaders. We're the freeloaders. We'll buy a game and we'll look
Or
at
so
the loot
EA
box.
likes to call us the scum of the earth.
Exactly.
It's like, what's a microtransaction?
Exactly.
I'm not getting
So-
that.
So these people are more like, so these percentages,
Yeah.
okay? Is it smart to base your entire strategy off of like essentially 10% of the market? Yes, the whales are going to give you most of your money. That's how it's going to be.
I would say that it is a very good idea on their part in terms of like they have the customer base. They know these are a lot of these people. The only games they play are sports games. Like they buy and when you sell them every year, you're just moving the product as quickly as you can. You're not really focusing on innovating the game, or else it will take longer to make these new games. And also with the microtransactions, like, that's even more money than the $60 that they already make. Like, video games make the most money out of any, like, entertainment medium out there, like, including movies, books, comic books, everything. Like, it's ridiculous.
So, okay, so I'm guessing that from a business perspective, it's good on their part. But the problem is, you will eventually get to that point where the people who would spend that money, because you're targeting an audience that essentially has an addiction.
Yeah, but, like, people don't want to get
You're essentially
fixed.
targeting an audience.
Like,
Yes, but what happens when these people finally run out of money?
well,
When the debt is too
I don't
much?
know. The only thing that could help is if a new competition came into town, like someone else started doing those games as well, and not just PES. Like one for NBA, one for Madden, like one for UFC, like all these.
You know what the main problem here is, that like NBA is mostly really about 2K at this point.
Yeah.
And then even that got riddled with
Oh my
microtransactions. But it's just
But why
it's
do
crazy
sports
though.
gamers put up with this?
But you know what the main problem here is though, is that these other big companies are looking at the Wilson style loot box. And they see that these pay-to-win strategies are working for EA. That's why 2017 was considered the year of the loot box. We got
Or the
games.
Wilson loot box.
Oh yes, we got games that should have never had loot box in the first place. Shadow of War. Again, they kept on saying, "Oh, it would not affect gameplay. This, that." It does affect gameplay. The more money you spend, the more legendary orcs and items you get. How is that not pay to win? That is bullshit. It is complete pay to win. And again, it's styled off of the same thing. Gambling, pay to win,
Tied into progression.
Yeah.
It's a Wilson loot box.
It's a complete Wilson.
But it
loot
bit
box.
them in the ass this
And-
time around, like with Battlefront 2, which, like.
Oh yeah, Battlefront 2. I would argue that Battlefront 2 was the biggest mistake that EA made.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, they've brought regulators down on them. I mean, I doubt the US would ever ban loot boxes as gambling. The US is too backward for that, but Europe might.
Well, no, look.
Yeah. Australia will. Europe might. And if you lose the European market, that's a big chunk. Japan will never go.
Yeah, of course.
Because the Japanese are smart.
Yeah.
Yes. No, look.
They go to school on
with
Saturday.
these-
Like, you know.
Yeah.
They stay awake in school. That's.
So okay, when it comes to these loot box type things, like I guess at the end of the day, it comes to this: when EA brought out Battlefront 2, I think it was just the final nail in the coffin. They kept putting stuff on the camel's back, and then this was finally the straw that broke it. It ends up in one of these strange situations where EA did nothing but bad shit with Battlefront 2. They did nothing good. Absolutely nothing good. They had so many problems with Battlefront 2, and ever since then, people have been just focusing on EA the entire time, watching every single move they make.
Yeah, Wilson has an off-shaped fart in his office, and they accuse him of eating pandas at this point.
Yes. So, okay, when Battlefront 2 got released, they had microtransactions in the form of...
That's what was announced at first.
Yes. I would like to point out, though, it's not really a microtransaction if you're spending $50 fucking dollars to get something like 100,
Or you can farm for 50 hours to get Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker.
Oh, no. It's way fucking worse. It was... Oh, yeah.
Has anyone seen the videos where people just join games endlessly but don't actually play it? They put like a stick of elastic on the controller, so you're running there, in the game, and all you see is one of these guys just turning around endlessly.
Do you want to know why?
What the flying?
Do you want to know why they had to do that?
Because you have to grind.
Because progression meant nothing in that game. Progression meant nothing. You could have an 80 kill streak, not dying once,
and you get like 5 credits more than the guy at the bottom. I saw that.
Which is ridiculous. That's why people just said, you know what, fuck it. What's the point?
Tie an elastic to it.
Elastic band to my
have
controller.
it auto spawn. Go take a shit.
Yeah, because what's the point?
You can progress equally as much. Meanwhile, you're pinching a loaf. You go get some lunch. You go grab a beer with some friends. You come home. You sleep. You pinch another loaf.
Yes.
You come back. You're like, oh great, my credits are in.
Do you think Disney learned its lesson never to give EA the Star Wars license? Or do you think?
No,
get another shot.
Disney is stubborn.
No. You see, look, Herbie, man, Disney is... I mean, look, if our previous 3 episodes...
Disney was founded by a Nazi. These fuckers don't just give up.
If our previous 3 episodes pointed anything out, is that Disney could not give less of a shit about the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
EA and Disney are a match made in heaven, because Disney is bought Star Wars because they want to make a quick buck. They want to make a quick buck, and what's the quickest way to bring out a game? Go to one of the biggest developers. Let them make it.
Yeah, make them reskin Battlefield and stuff it with loot boxes. Just
Yes,
in it goes. One more, just a little more.
And that's what EA does. And it's no surprise. It's no surprise that.
This was supposed to make like a Naughty Dog style. Like one of the former Naughty Dog people were supposed to make
Uncharted style.
Amy Hennig.
Yeah.
God, I've got
But it got
in my
cancelled.
mind, don't I?
She wrote one of she was the lead writer for a lot of the Uncharted games.
Yeah, I think it's just 4 where she wasn't
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, she wasn't involved in 4. But like she was great. She was fantastic at writing these games. Uncharted is one of my favorites. Is one of my favorite series of all time.
Yeah, but I feel very bad for her. She hasn't had a game published in quite a while.
Yes, because she thought when she went to Visceral Games. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention. Visceral Games when they were canned essentially. were busy working on a single-player, story-driven
Yeah,
Star
I
Wars
mentioned
game.
that one. Yeah.
But fuck
So,
it. Like,
but because if I recall correctly, in one of the investor meetings when they were showing off the games, EA said we have games as a service.
we
and
can't add
have,
microtransactions to this, right? That's what.
Yes, exactly. Essentially, that's what it boiled down to. It's like we are making $800 million from this game in microtransactions. Where's your version of
Yeah.
that?
What's going
And when
on?
she said I don't have it, they told her to fuck off.
Yeah, essentially. Because how can you compete with that? You can't. That's it. And that's what EA is.
But that's how
very
deep
core.
it's now penetrated their mindset. They will not even consider a game unless it is another FIFA gold mine.
Yes.
Not realizing the fact that it's only FIFA where this works.
Yes. No, but that's the problem though. They don't care. They're making
And I
They're
hate
making
the
their
fact that it works. Every FIFA player out there, just stop buying the card packs
Boy,
or whatever it is now. I'm begging you. Don't buy. Hell, skip the next 3 FIFA games. I promise you the 4th one will be the best one you've seen.
you won't miss much. Like,
yes.
It's a
you
side
really won't.
graphics update and what's a famous football player's name? I don't watch football. Give me a name. Any name. Guys, I'm drowning here. I need a name.
Ronaldo.
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 Ronaldo's hair gets just a little bit more fabulous and everybody just moves on.
Messi. Now
Ah,
I Messi. Shit. I like the whole time you were asking, I was like, the name begins with an M. Begins with an M.
It's an M, and it's a pseudonym for making a very dirty Messi.
Messi. But you see, the thing is with Battlefront 2, okay, like EA did. This was when everybody started realizing all the different shades of brown with EA.
How deep they're shitting.
Yes.
Look, EA wants to be a casino. At least Konami admits.
Yeah, and
Konami went,
kids are
I want to be a
allowed
casino.
to come in.
Yeah, look, Konami went full.
Well, they shut the bed and then they opened the casino.
Yeah, you see, EA went slight retard. Konami went full retard. But EA is getting there.
Yeah.
EA is getting.
There's still a side corner on the bed over there where they haven't shut yet.
So, I guess Okay, so this is where Battlefront 2's woes began. Okay, it all started when Battlefront 2 got released. Okay, so there was the progression system, there was the Wilson loot box in all of its shitty glory, and Disney, obviously at this point, they were being accused by a lot of people that they were trying to sell gambling to kids. Now, okay, so now Disney, I mean, obviously they can't be. Whoa, hey,
Yeah.
They don't want to go anywhere
we'll
near that.
happily work our people to death, but we love kids.
Yes, exactly. We cannot sell. We can't sell gambling to kids. So EA called up. Not EA. Disney called up EA and said to remove the.
Well, if you believe
microtransactions.
that parody they made, Mickey Mouse called the CEO of EA and like, what the fuck? What are you doing? You shit kicker! I'd like to think that's how the call went.
I will kill your entire family if you do not remove these loot boxes right now.
You fucking cocklicker! And it's like,
And then Andrew Wilson
Mickey's
tries
got
in his
me,
middle.
man. I know that's not what happened, but I like to think that's how the call
I
went.
would love if Mickey would do that to Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson just gets shat on by Mickey.
I also would love it if Andrew Wilson, whenever Disney phones Andrew Wilson, there's a
Big red phone.
Oh, no. There's a big red phone and it just rings.
And he's like in the corner of the single position. They're always calling. They're always calling. And he just like he reaches and like picks it up. Hello? Sorry, wrong number. I can't deal with the stress anymore.
So yeah, they. But you know what the problem is though? Is that they removed the microtransactions, but it really didn't change anything. Because
Now the
what
progression
happened
system
was
is just worse than ever because it
Yes.
shows how tied in the
yeah, tied in the
microtransactions
microtransactions
were.
are. But the main problem now is
It's
well,
gonna come back at
that's-
some point, like that. That's what
it's
it's
gonna come back at some point, and no matter what they do, it's still going to be tied to some.
I'm
form
actually
of
quite
loot.
surprised. I was convinced it would be reactivated at
Yeah.
Christmas.
No, look, let's be honest. Disney isn't enough hot water as it is. Disney told them to cancel those microtransactions not just because of the kids, but also because, hey, whoa, we have a new movie coming out. And I mean, you know,
Yeah. and-
Disney shot themselves in the foot on that one by
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we don't need you bringing shit down on our movie. You didn't need our help,
Yeah.
bro. Your movie was shit on its own.
So now we're in this weird situation where EA and Disney have both fucked up with Star Wars in the span of less than 2
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2. I want to just say Battlefront 2 fucked up so bad they lost 3 to 4 million units potentially. Like,
Yes. However, and not only that, but their shares went down by $3 billion. $3.1 billion.
And I think there was one statistic that showed where Battlefront 1 sold 1.3 units, Battlefront 2 was sitting at 800,000 units. And that's
Yeah.
800,000 units more than what should have been sold, but that's still a substantial decline.
But you know what the main problem here is? From the research that Urbia did, the shares are now rising
Yeah.
back up again. And you know what? Andrew Wilson
But that's
said
for,
this.
that's
Andrew
FIFA.
Wilson
That's
said,
FIFA pushing it back.
No, it's not. No. Think about it like this. They said that it won't affect the ultimate outcome of everything because, as we know, during this time, when Battlefront 2 didn't sell well, EA started discounting it. On
yeah,
EA
it's been
said-
discounted ever since it's.
to this
Like,
day.
that is how
it has been
desperate they
discounted
are.
6 times in 6 different sales in the span
Yeah, I know.
of about two
My
and a half
phone wouldn't
months.
stop chiming. Did you know that there is 40% off Star Wars? Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
thank
off.
you.
They could make it free. I still wouldn't
Like,
get it.
Star Wars is
Exactly.
dying out. Like, you can see by the sales of the movies, the toys, the games. Like, it's.
You know, it's dying out because Disney are shitting the
Yeah.
bed.
And they
Yeah.
won't admit it. They're
Disney-
just like flipping the mattress over. Like,
Yes,
Yeah, it's shitting
they
on that
shit-
side.
Yes, they shit one side of the mattress. They're like, oh, okay, let's just flip the mattress. And then they shit that side of the mattress, and they're like,
Let's just flip. Oh, right, there's shit there.
Oh, okay,
everybody look over there.
It's like, come on with sheets. Oh
Shit's
shit!
the sheet.
Oh shit! It still smells.
perfume,
Yeah, it still
perfume.
smells.
Like, will that help? Like, not much, not much.
Buy a new bed and then they shit their pants.
Yes. But that's essentially what Disney have done with Star Wars, and they had to go to EA, one of the most morally bankrupt companies in
You
the
know
world.
what? I am willing to sell all 4 of my Teslas if it meant we could move the Star Wars license from EA to Sony.
Oh, that would be fantastic. It doesn't even have to be Sony. You know, it could be any one of the good developers.
I read a
EA
Japanese,
could do a pretty good job.
like Square Enix.
Ooh, a Japanese developer. You know what? Japan is one of the largest markets for fandom for Star Wars in the world.
Yep.
Japan would go out of their way to make a
we
good
could get
Star
that
Wars
samurai version of Darth Vader we've always wanted.
Yes.
And you know, I love how, remember when Jorgensen was, shitting the bed saying we can't have cosmetic skins in Battlefront EA because Darth Vader in white or pink wouldn't be canon. What's the first thing that the PC gamers do?
Yes.
They develop a mod that makes Darth Vader pink and white.
But that actually brings up a good
Turns
point.
out in white he doesn't look that bad, especially with stormtroopers around
Yeah.
him.
I mean, it brings up a good point though, because EA was adamant that they stated on the record, we cannot put cosmetic based loot boxes in Star Wars because it would mess with the canon.
Uh-huh.
But some very good people, some very good hackers on the internet.
Yeah, they do it.
They went into the files of Battlefront 2
And they found them.
and they found an actual system, a remnant of a system that they were working on prior, that actually had little bits of cosmetic things that you could add.
But that's just
So
it. I mentioned this before. Why does EA lie where they know they're gonna get caught? It's like, no, officer, I didn't shoot anyone. There's a gun on the couch and a dead body next to it. Oh shit. I was hoping you wouldn't see that. I have eyes.
But
the second they say this is not there, don't they fucking take this out?
no,
They keep going, oh no, we couldn't do it. It's already there. You switched it off.
I mean, but that's what EA does. That's what EA always fucking does. They keep on doing this. And okay, so yeah, they did that. They did like how do I put this? EA has currently a system that they're busy working on.
Oh, it's similar to that Activision one,
Yes.
where the better you do, the more they try to rein you in, and the worse you do, they push you forward because there's that issue of if you're doing extremely well and you lose, you can't just drop it now. You were on a winning streak, and
Yeah,
if you lose constantly and then suddenly you win, you're like, okay, man.
they're essentially trying to get rid of fair matchmaking. They want to put people against each other to make people spend money on loot boxes. And Activision is also doing this now. They're doing it in a different way, but EA is now
they're
trying to do
say
this
match
fair.
players to force them to outpay each other. EA is working on the system where they keep you. It's similar to what Destiny was. They keep you this far away from happy to keep you coming.
Yeah, they model it after drug related behaviors,
Yes,
Effectively,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, they make it so that okay, you're losing. Okay, hold up.
Suddenly
We're
you're
going to put you into a group now where you're better. Suddenly you're.
You're like,
dopamine
oh,
rush.
I fucking nailed this.
So yeah, that's what EA is currently working on. And I mean, okay, BioWare has stated adamantly that they have not incorporated this technology into Anthem, but
So BioWare
at
has
this point-
incorporated it into Anthem.
yeah, exactly. At this point, I don't believe shit. From
No, EA or any EA company could tell me the grass is fucking green, and I wouldn't believe them.
Yes, and that is exactly how it is. I don't believe EA at all. They are beyond redemption at this point. I think this is one of the funniest things that they did with Battlefront 2 was when people found out that the progression to get Darth Vader and Luke was hidden behind grinding for them for I think it was about 40 hours.
60. Because they
That's 120 hours to
Yes.
get Luke and Vader.
Yes, the two most iconic characters.
120 hours
Star
of a
Wars.
shitty game. I don't play 100
And
hours
they
of game
posted
I
on
love.
Reddit.
Let alone shitty game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they posted on Reddit the most disliked comment on Reddit by
Ever.
far. Currently, it is sitting
In
on
history.
672,000 dislikes.
Yes, but you know how EA is. They just pretend that they can't hear.
The user rating on Metacritic is 1 for Battlefront 2. 1? Are you fucking kidding?
It's insane. On Reddit, they said, no, the reason why we did this is because we want the players to feel progression, like they accomplished something. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. There are games which I can finish in 40 hours that fill me with more satisfaction of progression and better story, better gameplay, literally better in every single way. And you know what else? I don't have to pay extra in order to fucking get to that stage either. So, yeah, no. You can't... it's no wonder that's the most disliked Reddit comment.
Yeah.
Even just thinking about it pisses me off.
But that's just it. I don't know if EA is self-aware or just, sort of, ugh, I can say whatever I want, who cares? Because they lie and are caught out immediately. They spin a story and then just make people angry. How long can you last in a market where people truly hate you?
It depends.
I mean, I cannot.
Depends. Like,
Okay, granted, EA just has to bring out one good game, and all of this will be fixed. But honestly, I'd like to say, even if they bring out their visceral, Uncharted-like Star Wars game tomorrow, don't buy it. Don't buy anything
yeah,
from
don't
EA.
buy EA.
Go 2 years without buying anything from EA or any of their companies, and this problem will be fixed. EA won't change by shouting at them. They just pretend that they can't hear you.
Yes. You know what? The good part is that people are actually thinking with their wallets with this game. EA up to this point have only sold 7 million units of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
It's 7 million than what's more than what should
Yeah.
have been.
It is 7 million more than what should have been sold. However, in comparison to some of the previous games that EA has worked on, that's almost nothing. That's almost nothing for EA, especially since they're selling on all systems. It's not good for EA.
It's not good.
It's not good at all for
Yes,
EA.
but there's still a lot more that needs to be done. Literally all of their games need to walk this route. FIFA needs to walk this route. I know that their sales of units are down 30%. It needs to go down by another 30%. Go down by 60%. That the microtransactions are not bringing in their potential anymore. Because the only reason they make a game is to stick microtransactions in it. If you don't buy the game, I know a lot of people like to say, I buy the game but not the microtransactions. No, not good enough, don't buy the game.
Yes.
None of them. Not a single one. Even if it's just cosmetic microtransactions and loot boxes. I don't like those either. I think they're part of the problem. Don't buy those either. I know this is a hard line move to take, and it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You don't get your game. Fortunately, we have all the games that have come prior to this on the previous systems that are all still good, and we do have the good gaming companies, and, well, I'll have to branch into the Japanese market now, which I've been a little hesitant to do because they're weird.
That's just,
But just move completely away from it. Who knows? Maybe you'll discover a genre you didn't like before. I didn't like Dark Souls until I finished it. I still don't like it that much. But I need to shut
no,
up.
I have hope.
Yeah, but that's because you found it hard. You know?
It is
I have
hard.
hope for EA, though. I feel like there's a chance they can still come out. Like, maybe, definitely not soon, but like in 10 years, maybe.
You know what? Look, I will give EA this. For all the hatred they are getting right now, and deservedly so, by the way, they have set in motion something which is fantastic. They have set in motion the governmental policies to actually keep loot boxes under control. And that is fantastic. That is great news because this needed to happen way back in the day. This needed to happen way, way, way back in the day. Now, currently, it sits at Hawaii. A state representative from Hawaii started filing petitions for...
Yeah, we'll put a link to that.
Yeah.
Yes, in the description, yes. We got a lot of this information from a YouTuber called YongYea. We'll put his information in the
does
description.
amazing work.
Yes. So he... The statesman is trying to get legislation to start working on sort of keeping loot boxes under check, because you cannot make loot boxes for kids because it is essentially gambling.
It's exactly.
Lot of kids don't understand this. There have been cases
Yes, they
where
don't understand.
they
Worse than
purchase like thousands of dollars of worth of these microtransactions, and they don't know what this is. Like I don't blame them. Like they're still in elementary school.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true, but it's worse. I'd argue loot boxes are worse than casino gambling, because if you win a casino, you get money. If you win at a loot box, you get a shiny new helmet for
You
your
get
customizable
cool
character.
pixels.
Yes. Yes. At least if you go gamble properly, you can get money back.
Yeah.
If you gamble with these loot boxes, you get data. You get
You
ones and
get
zeros.
free alcohol
That's what you get.
after
You're
gambling
already-
casinos like hell. Like, if they at least got me
This is
drunk
already
if
you-
I bought these loot boxes, that'd be okay. I'd be like, these loot boxes kick
All of
ass.
these-
Like, I love them.
And all of these loot boxes that you bought won't mean shit when the game is EA finally pulls the plug, which they inevitably will, and all the money and time that you sunk into this game will balance back to zero. Well, you're out. What was it, $21,000?
Well, actually, no. There was recently there was actually a talk. This one whale actually went on record for saying that in Mass Effect 3, the one that EA fucked with,
Yeah.
when they started adding those microtransactions to the multiplayer, he spent $15,000 on microtransactions in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer.
Well, he needs to
Mass
take
Effect
a good hard
3's
look at
multiplayer.
himself.
There is like, let's be honest, at most, like, even if those servers are even still around, like 10 people maybe still playing.
Well, they have to. He sunk 15,000 into it.
Well, shit, with 15,000, he better be the best
of
player
course.
out of those 10.
Yeah. That.
Because it's ridiculous. The EA's entire model strategy is working off of that. But this whale went on to say that he actually had to go into sort of rehabilitation sort of mode in order for him to stop doing this. He said that this was ruining his life, and he said he started from a young age. He said he would go and he would start buying these microtransactions from a young age, which is proof, isn't it, that this is not good for young children. This isn't good for them.
No, there's a reason gambling is 18 and up.
Yes, exactly. In the US, it's 21 and up for games, which is why this needs legislation. Imagine if Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out.
And you have to be 22
And you have to be 22 or 21 and up
it's the
to
same
play
thing
it.
that they did with that other controversial game, Hatred, I think it was called.
Yes.
Instead of banning it outright, all they did was stick it with an M rating.
No, adult only.
Adult
AO.
only rating.
Yeah.
Died immediately.
Well, yeah, you see,
And
that's
what will happen to Battlefront if this legislation goes through. It will be hit with an hard adult only rating, which, okay, here where we live, that would limit them to 18 and up. In the US, it would be 21 and up.
But you know what? The thing is,
There's
the
your
good
market
part.
gone.
The good part, though, is that this is spreading like wildfire. I think currently it sits at about 5-6 states that are trying their best to.
Look, like I said, I have little hope for the US, but I do think Europe.
The thing is, 5-6 states, that's nothing to laugh at. It will eventually increase more. And the bill recently got drafted and has been sent to Congress in Washington. So things are actually happening on that front. In terms of Europe, Belgium is busy working on that as well. They're trying their hardest to make sure that loot boxes...
And the capital of the EU is in Brussels, isn't it?
Yes. So that
but
might
isn't case law
cause...
binding in the entire EU?
I don't think so. I don't think so because they stated on the record that they're hoping that eventually this spreads to more countries in the EU. So Belgium says, like this will most likely be loot boxes, that they're gambling, etc. And this will probably have a domino effect for the most of Europe. And the
that
good
just
part
leaves
is
Australia to get the ball rolling down here.
Yeah. No, things are moving well. And if anything, at least that is one contribution that EA did. They fucked up so bad.
That's the equivalent of they made so much money that it crushes them.
Yes, they fucked up so bad that even they could not escape their fucking.
Yes, but okay. People like to say EA is too big to fail. Too big to fail is a myth. They're running a pretty bad streak at the moment, and this alone will not kill them. But if the streak continues for 2-3 years, they're going to be suffering some serious damage. If it continues beyond that, then they're going to be suffering some losses. If it hits 10 years of the same streak, then they're dead.
No, yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna cry for them.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck EA. Fuck EA. There's
Yeah.
a reason why people have taken the logo and put in a shit in the place of A.
Yeah.
There's actually a reason. I mean, that's why EA is the only company in American history, I think, that won the worst company of the year two
Dude,
years in a
how
row.
does that happen?
Exactly. How do you manage to pull that off?
What's this
places,
shit?
with places
You
like
just said-
Walmart,
I
for instance,
Googled.
where they put like it's
I
unbelievable.
threw into Google, why is EA a great company? The entire page was why EA sucks. You can't even Google a positive article about EA.
Though I think we should wrap up with our final thoughts. I think.
All right. Okay.
All right.
So, I guess overall, with the future of EA, with their stocks that are currently rising, it's kind of hard to see them changing really in the long run. I feel like EA is just one of those companies that breeds a cancerous sort of nature. It cannot move forward because it's just run by these suits. That's all it is. It's run by people who don't know
Yeah,
what gaming
it appeals to the
essentially
lowest
is.
common denominator. Like, it's ridiculous.
And then they move it into the highest denominator.
Yeah.
Whales.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
They try to cater to
Yeah,
the highest
those niche
common
market,
whale
the
denominator.
people who actually purchase these microtransactions, like, I don't know a motherfucker that does this. Like,
Exactly. Eventually, this will eventually bite them in the ass. People are buying less EA games. I, for myself, have not bought an EA game since Dragon Age
FIFA
Inquisition.
17.
Oh yeah.
I technically.
Okay, yeah,
bought-
I technically
Yeah.
bought FIFA 17. That is correct. That is
I
correct.
did-
I forgot. Yeah, just to show you how much of an impact that had on me. I can't even remember buying that game.
Okay, I'll have to fess up. I bought an EA game last year. Indirectly, it came with my PS3.
Oh yeah.
Wanna know? I wanna know which one it was. It was
What?
FIFA 09.
So the one that
one that
started it all. That's fantastic.
They had to give it away.
So I don't know. Overall, I mean, with these rumors about Microsoft buying EA,
That would be
honestly, I kind of feel that I don't know. Microsoft have been doing some shady stuff with their games in terms of microtransactions, but they usually, well, actually no, with Halo 5 they sort of put in the Wilson style loot box, except it was
cosmetic,
for-
yeah.
cosmetic. Okay,
And that
more
doesn't give
cosmetic.
them a free run.
yeah. It's,
I include cosmetic DLC. Overwatch does not get exempt in my book.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. With EA, if Microsoft buys EA, I would like for Microsoft to essentially change the very core foundation of what EA is, because Microsoft does have the possibility. They actually have that will to make games that wouldn't make a lot of money. Because racing games, for instance, are a pretty niche market, but they keep on bringing out Forza games, you know. And those are some of the best racing games out there. So I hope that if Microsoft does buy EA, that happens. If EA carries on the way that it is, I don't know. I feel like EA will just carry on this road forever until people just get sick and tired of it. I personally have gotten sick and tired of EA quite a while ago. I don't know. I can't bring myself to buy any of their new games. I was excited for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then they completely destroyed my
Oh,
excitement.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the movie came out.
And then
That
the
didn't
movie
help.
came out, and then it destroyed Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So I don't know. What do you guys think about the future of EA?
There might be some hope, but, like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know at this point.
I think it's time we pull some Revenge of the Sith on EA. Let them feel a little sweat and a little pain for a change. That's what I'm saying. Every game EA published, don't buy it for the next 2 years. That's what they need. They need to suffer catastrophic sales for the next 2 consecutive years. Not one bad round, then they bring out a good game, because then it's just going to repeat the cycle. 2 years, bad sales. Just to show them that, yes, you felt the pain, you brought out a good game. We still didn't buy it. Yeah. Just let EA know, you rely on us. And we're going to show you now. You're going to fucking learn today.
Yeah.
But yes, I do agree there is a hope for EA if they hurt for a little while. Then they will wake up. And Wilson needs to just fucking go.
Yeah, Wilson.
And that Jorgensen guy should just, accidentally drive his car
Yeah.
off the cliff.
Yeah, no. Us as a gaming community, we need to stop it.
Yeah, and we can.
We can.
You can literally do nothing and stop it.
Yeah, all we have to do is literally, do nothing. We just need
don't
to
shout at EA.
Don't shout at EA.
They
don't
love that.
buy any of their games. We are living in an age right now where being a gamer is simultaneously one of the most frustrating and one of the best things that you can be, because there are so many good quality games that are coming up, and at the same time,
You have to fight to get
you have to fight to get them, because some companies just downright refuse to treat the consumer with any semblance of respect. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I think that's what it comes down to. Just vote with your wallet. I know it's been said a million times before.
But okay, let's approach it from another angle. Don't shout at EA. They love that. They're the epitome of a misbehaving child. Even bad attention is still attention. They love attention. Any kind of attention they get is just another marketing for them. Ignore them and don't buy a game. And if there's an issue, they issue a broadcast or a public apology or something, don't comment on the apology. The next time they post something on YouTube, don't say like it or unrate it or give a bad comment. Just leave it. Don't even fucking watch it.
Just ignore it.
Watch them panic when that happens. They love bad attention. They will hate no attention. Combine that with not having a game sale. That is when they will realize, okay, I've gone too far.
Okay.
Yes. So I guess, to
That's
sum
my-
up it.
that's
I guess that brings us to the end.
Yeah, that brings us
Yeah. Thank you for listening if you've come this far. And if you want to continue the discussion, please comment below. We'll read your comments and we'll probably reply if you have any interesting points to mention. Anything else you guys want to say to the people listening?
No, that's all. Just
Thanks for the support.
Thanks for the support.
We're already further than we thought we would be.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything that you're all doing for us, and we really appreciate it all.
And don't play again.
Don't.
Yeah, don't buy EA games.
And I've already said this already, but don't watch The Last Jedi either. I just want to make sure people don't forget.
Your final thoughts on EA. Don't watch The Last Jedi.
That's a good point, though.
But okay. Thank you for all the support, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for making it this far and listening to three grown men complaining for almost 2 hours. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoy our work, please consider supporting us on Patreon and following us on Twitter and Facebook. See you all next time.